Good morning, and welcome to South Church. Welcome to a space where your identity is cherished, your beliefs, background, who you choose to love, and what brings you here today are all beloved parts of what makes our congregation whole. My name is Veda Kiper Phelps, and I'm one of a team of worship associates who have the honor of serving South Church and working with our minister, Reverend Ellen Quadgrass. Today, I'm grateful to be joined by our Director of Children and Family Ministries, Jen Deldeo Berry, our Music Director, Johnny Piper, our accompanist, Susan Adams, Congregational Administrator, Jennifer Leiden, and our AV Technician, Ben Abbott. Thank you. Joining us in the pulpit today is Bill Blum. Bill has been a member of South Church since 2014. Throughout this time, they've been an active participant in the congregation, working as a chair of the property committee, serving on the board, and being a coming-of-age facilitator, in addition to taking a shift or two in the nursery in their early days. Outside of South Church, Bill owns and operates a small business called Pride Toolbox and serves as board chair for 603 Equality, a statewide advocacy organization for the Pride community. Bill notes how grateful they are for those who continue to do the work to make this magical place happen. It is a pleasure to have them speaking here today. For those in need of assistance, our ushers will be able to help you with personal listening devices and large print hymnals. We also invite you to join us downstairs after the service for coffee, tea, and conversation. And it is important that we take this time to acknowledge the land in which this beloved space was built upon. This land is the territory of the Wabanaki and Pennacook people, and they did not give this home up. May we hold this truth in our hearts. May we feel connected to this earth. May we welcome all through these doors and utilize this generationally sacred space for action towards restorative justice. Thank you for your presence here this morning.
Okay, a few announcements. They are in your order of service, but we just wanted to lift up three especially today. One is that there's a music program celebration picnic happening later today at Offertory Island. So if you have been any part of any music situation at South Church or just really appreciate that program, you're invited to join music celebration from 3 to 6 over at Offertory Island. Also, happening right after worship today, there's a covenant group sampler. So if you don't know what a covenant group is, or if you know what it is and have kind of wanted to try but haven't sampled one yet, then you can take part in one today from 11:30 to 12:30 downstairs. And then finally, it's our turn to make meals for Seacoast Family Promise, which is an amazing program that's a cooperation of a lot of churches in our area that provides temporary housing and meals for people who are unhoused. And in the long run, the program helps them find stable housing. And South Church takes a turn every year in providing those meals. It's a really great volunteer opportunity and way to get to know people. So you can sign up at the link in the order of service. Thank you.
We light our chalice today with the words of UU minister Teresa Ninan Soto. To be free, you must embrace the breadth of your own existence without apology. You must know instead that inside you are entire universes, milky blue, magenta, and gold expanding. But to actually be free, you must know and you must fight for the entire universe is inside of everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise. Now please join me in body or spirit in reciting our mission statement printed in your order of service. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. This past January for me was a very long month. It seemed to be more dreary than the others. The days each blended by stress and ice slush. There wasn't snow outside, but the cold continued. There were midterms, inaugurations, and not enough sleep. I remember sectioning out the month in my head to make the days seem easier. I would go like this. Okay, I have exams next week, so once I study for them, school will be easier. I have 5 track meets this month, but once I finish midterms, track will be easier. And then since track ends in February, thinking about college will soon be easier. And once I know where I'm going to college, I will be happy and stress-free forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I remember waking up the day after my track season had finished, disappointed with the lack of relief I had experienced. I enjoy running, but not in the freezing rain, which is where all of our practices took place. And the idea of racing often flung me into a spiral of worry, so I was counting down the days for the stress to diminish. However, instead of sleeping peacefully that night, knowing I was free from this intense part of my life, I was forced awake, worrying about growing up, or college, or the state of the world. I didn't have midterms, I didn't have competitions. January was all over, and all of my college applications were sent. But my head was still spinning, even more somehow, now that it didn't have anything to hold on to. It seemed when all my tangible stress was cleared, my brain was left to wander to the truly scary stuff, to fear loneliness and wars and climate change. And then my college decisions returned, and I was grounded by a stressor I could deal with, that I got to deal with. My thoughts circulated around distance, finances, opportunities. I got the chance to long for a time when I didn't have anxiety surrounding picking a school, a chance to believe my life would be happier without this task. I found that a certain level of discomfort is how I deter what I like to call doom stress, politics, disaster, uncontrollable worries. On an everyday level, I usually stress myself out with school, exercise, working, and these bits of uneasiness keep me living free from this doom. But at the same time, the doom is how we grow. As scary as it is, it's what's needed to be focused on. So I stress myself out with school to be distracted by the hopelessness I feel as an emerging adult in this world. And then when I do attend protests, when I read the news, and be present in the truly scary, I take solitude in running, in homework, in decision-making. It's a balance that I'm not very good at, but it's something. Because it's impossible to be happy and stress-free forever and ever and ever, even with no exams, no track meets, and my life all planned out. There will always be some form of anxiety for the brain to encourage. And for me, it's easier to have more plain things to dwell on, so those huge things don't feel so heavy. Little freedoms that ensure this discomfort continues to be growth, not paralysis. Now please stay seated and join me in singing our opening hymn, Meditation on Breathing, but there are some instructions. It's number 1009, and Susan's gonna play the melody 4 times, and then part 2 4 times, and then the melody 2 times, and then you can find yourself in it, I think. Okay.
Okay. Kids and anyone else who would like to come up to the front, any senior youth that are here, come sit on the steps. Oh my gosh, hi everyone. Okay, so our senior youth group that we're all a part of just got back from General Assembly, which is like the big UU convention in Baltimore, Maryland. And so with today's theme being living freely to be exactly who you are, we were invited to share how that works in our senior youth group. There are about 25 of us all together. This obviously isn't everyone. And we made a documentary, and we offered a talk at GA about our senior youth and kind of did a Q&A. So kind of anyone can add anything when I am talking. But so I kind of wanted to talk about how senior youth is a place where we all fit in and like just don't even have to try at all. And we're also open to everyone that walks through the door. And having a genuine openness is the most important thing in our group. It certainly made my high school experience a whole lot better because sometimes school is so hard. And so having this place to come and just be without having to question anything is so important and has made it all so much easier. My biggest advice, I think, to anyone who may not feel a connection here yet with any friends in RE is to just get involved and ask somebody else a question about yourself or about themselves and introduce yourself and just be open to other people. So yeah, does anyone want to add anything? Do you have a question?
I think something very distinct from school in this group and how this group works is, okay, sorry, I'm using the microphone wrong. Something very distinct in this group and how this group works from school is that we all have shared values from being UU and being in this UU space. And it really helps to create a more genuine, whole, and based on love community. Then I feel like sometimes school can not even be a community for some people or sometimes. And there can be this like really just not great, not honest behavior among peers or other people or even among, friends. And kind of sometimes like a friend group, like that really doesn't quite count the same as a community like this one. And I think that's probably due to the shared values and kind of shared commitment to honesty and just based in love. Like, I think it was a funny observation this year that Kirsten and Jen had, that nobody has ever fought on any single one of these senior youth trips. There's never been any kind of physical or even like anything labeled as such, like fight of a serious nature. So, wait, maybe we're wrong here. No, okay, we're good. All right. But yeah. So that's just an observation that I have, and I feel like maybe a reason why it's such a difference. I don't know who can hand this to next, Lucas.
I just think senior youth is a great place for us because you can just show up and you don't have to do anything. You can just be there and you know that people are glad that you are there. And you don't have to try to make friends. It just kind of happens as time goes on if you keep showing up, which I think is a great part of senior youth.
I just wanted to add that I think it's really cool that we have people from, still in the area, but just not everybody from one school. I mean, there's some people from my school, but it's also nice to have others outside of the bubble that I kind of been living in at my personal school. And it's really, it just kind of helps us build that awesome community, because there's just, even though we're still in the area, even with that, there's just different people and different ideas, and that's really cool.
If you haven't already watched our documentary, go ahead and do that. There's little QR codes, right? Or they'll make it available. It's definitely worth your time. All right, thank you all, and kids, we'll go to Ari.
In months with 5 Sundays in 2025, the Board of Trustees has approved the use of the entire collection plate on the last Sunday towards paying down the principal on a loan we took out to upgrade South Church and the Meeting House. In addition, a small group of South Church members has offered a $3,000 matching challenge to the congregation. For every dollar collected from the congregation during the 5th Sundays in 2025, the group will match the collection dollar for dollar up to $3,000. So the offering will now be greatly received.
Now I'd like to take a few moments and gather some thoughts for a time of prayer and meditation. Lately, it seems the world is the tire fire that we cannot control. Between unnecessary insertion into conflicts in Iran, the Middle East, ongoing struggles and wars in Ukraine, and just earlier this week, our trans service members had retirement ceremonies outside of their uniform that they were no longer allowed to wear. So let's just take a few moments, gather some thoughts. And now I invite those who would like to come forward and light some candles of joy or concern. Please do so at this time. It's been a year since I've been up here. I live intentionally and I live free. And the purpose of this is to talk about what that looks like for me and how we share living freely, even though our situations are different. It's easy for me to connect the dots in earlier times in a story that I haven't told here. I thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2012. I had a great paying job at the time. I left the job and went down to Georgia with a backpack full of food. I got water at the airport, and I got a ride to the start of the trail. That was living free. Living free at the start of the Appalachian Trail for me meant there was an end goal. Yes, I had to hike to Mount Katahdin in Baxter State Park, but there was no timeline each and every day. There was no agenda. Living free that day meant hike your own hike. We all, I'm assuming, love to hike. Whether that is on a trail in our backyard, or maybe some of you this morning had to park at the other end of State Street. So we share in that. And what we also share in that is some challenges and restrictions with time or ability, or the end goals are different. So imagine if you could get rid of those restrictions. And it's been said in other places that what it means to live free, it comes at a cost. So if we can get rid of those costs, does that mean that we truly live free? That's a question I don't have an answer to. It's an open-ended question. Something that I've thought about a lot lately. There were some costs to my thru-hike. My knees are junk. I've been skiing since I was 3, and it hurt. And I came back, and I thought that I was going to have things figured out. After spending 6 months and 10 days in the woods, chasing white blazes on trees that are the same size of a dollar bill, some people find themselves and they come back and they get things figured out. I didn't. So I really used that time to just explore and enjoy the United States in a different way than most people get to experience it. I trusted complete strangers for rides into towns. I became friends with random people on the trail that actually are still friends with me to this day. That moment and that trip in time was, I didn't know it at the time. However, I do know it now, that when I look back at the experience, it was about reinventing or like a reimagining of what's important. So I came back with that, and I went right into a relationship. I did that for a while, and things were great. And deep down inside, I wasn't living authentically, and I knew it, and I didn't know how to come out of that. I found spaces around in our community, this being one of them. It's a city of the open door, and that's true. And honestly, our doors are open here right now. And South Church, for me, gave me that place to explore and to think about what if. What if I didn't have this weight inside of me that I couldn't share with others? What if that was lifted? What if that no longer was there? Would I truly live free at that point? Would I truly enjoy more of life? And I can say yes. Yes, I am. And I also will say it has come with some challenges. My work with 603 Equality is similar to South Church dynamic in ways. When you volunteer for one little thing, you get pulled into something else and something else. And it's this cycle. And now I'm chair of the board, and it's great. It's a volunteer gig. It doesn't pay much of anything. But I am grateful for that. And over this last month, it's been a lot. And it has cost me some money because I, as a small business owner, I make money with my hands. And unfortunately, when I'm doing work with 603 Equality, it sometimes gets in the way. But it's important work. It's important work for me because I get to hear stories firsthand from people that are living in the community, in the Pride community, and how legislation affects them, and how proposed policies, executive orders, make them feel each and every day. And I bring that message forward when I table at Prides, when I co-host rallies, when we send out an email. I know that living free comes at a cost, and I know that some people can't do it because they fear that they're going to lose it all, and that's true in some cases. Last year I stood here and celebrated the fact that same-sex marriage was signed into law in the state of New Hampshire. And this year, I will tell you that the Republican caucus in Concord a month ago, last year I celebrated the fact that the gay panic defense was enshrined into law. It prevented the gay panic defense from being used as a reason to commit harm to someone else. And this year, I'm here to say that the Republican caucus of New Hampshire has openly said that same-sex marriage is in question. So things are getting real, and they're getting real quickly. The policies in the executive orders in Washington, D.C. that have been coming down from someone who does not listen to anyone other than themselves have been quick, broad-reaching, and harsh. Established nonprofits are losing funding for simply reasons that they don't agree with them. They speak things that they don't like. Our service members are no longer to serve openly. There's real harm happening down in D.C., and it has made its way up into New Hampshire. It is the live free or die state. In our state motto, it's on our license plates. It's up in Concord. However, the truth is, it is live free or die for only those that they feel deserve it. I'm here to say that that's not the case here in Portsmouth or in South Church. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people. And that is the drum that I beat every single day. This year we saw lots of conversations on the House floor that were harmful and caused our trans legislators to go in the hallway and cry. They were attacked openly, publicly, and on record. And the people doing the attacking, the party that supported that person, celebrated that. They did not say, hey, that's a bad idea. They encouraged it, and they validated it. So we're living in a world right now today that harm to others is okay. The online keyboard warriors are now in a position where they can they can say their hate speech outside and publicly. The budget saw some pretty good challenges with it. They honestly doubled down and put in words and to get rid of DEI. So instead of legislating that away, they threw it in the budget, which is a sneaky trick, but they did it. They also put in there to eliminate the Office for Child Advocate. One of our former members here who now lives out of state, her job was to show up to Concord and advocate for the children. And the Republicans took the funding away for doing exactly that. So what do? We can start the uphill battle to try to convert others on the other side on stopping the progression of harmful legislation. That's a challenge. We could stop the progression of systematically erasing trans rights and saying that it's not. It's there to protect women. There's not a case in New Hampshire or New England of a trans person harming anybody in a bathroom. There is no data saying trans athletes are there to win gold medals simply by transitioning the day before a meet. They are looking for spaces to exist and to thrive and to live free. The way that can be helpful to us right now is to understand that when someone talks about taking away someone's basic human right to exist, what that feels like inside, I can't explain to others, or I have a difficult time explaining to others the true way to walking around not being able to tell anybody that I want to live authentically. That's a big pill to swallow, so I have difficulty explaining that. This is how it felt for me, maybe it might feel different for you if you were in that spot. That's not where I'm going with that. Where I'm going with this is as basic human beings, when we take away basic fundamental rights of existence, of acceptance, that storyline is translated into other places, into other marginalized communities. If you take away the 1% of the trans people of the population, and it was allowed, now you can start taking away other population members. You can start taking other marginalized community members' rights away. And what's stopping it? Where are the checks and balances? When we sent B-2 bombers over Iran last weekend, Congress didn't do anything. New Hampshire's a state. They didn't really do anything because they really can't. But you know what I did see? I saw the community members stand up and say, this is not right. This is where you can help. This is how you can help us. If we can get together in spaces where we are saying the same things in a different way, but towards the same goal, then we could affect change. Maybe a little bit today, maybe a little bit tomorrow, maybe a little bit more next week. And then we can start getting more people on that path. And then we can start electing members that think like us, that don't want to marginalize anybody for simply existing. I don't want to get controversial here, but I will. New Hampshire is unique. You can step up and say anything you want at the State House, no matter which side you agree upon. And for me, that's pride rights. For others, that might be, there's book bans that they're trying to stop. There might be people who are unhoused, their rights. Housing issues are a big concern. Economic issues. It's just not social issues. And in New Hampshire, we, as a state, are following national objectives right now to take the 988 suicide emergency relief number, and they stripped the funding that the Trevor Project uses. So if you're a Pride community member and you're in a state of crisis, you can call 988, but option 4 is no longer there. That was a federal thing, and Governor Ayotte has said that she's going to keep that 988 number, and frankly, that's a good thing. However, she's going along the same lines and eliminating option 4 and supporting that as well. And at the same time, there is living free in New Hampshire. If you're an automobile, as of January 1st, you can live free, and as an occupant, you can die because there's no more car inspections. So there's some pretty crazy stuff going on up there. We, as human beings, are looking to exist in a space that allows us all to thrive without restriction. And if you want to join me, I would encourage that. Any time there's a gathering publicly to talk about injustices that are happening or going to happen, I encourage you to show up. It starts there. And that's how you can help me, and us, and we. Because I'm not alone, and I'm not the leader. And there's a lot of people that are being affected. So I'm asking for help. To help we, to help all. Thank you. And now I invite everyone to sing our closing hymn, which is 323, Break Not the Circle, in our hardcover, the gray hymnals.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
It's getting hot, so I'll keep it brief. Yesterday I was at Manchester Pride. I was there early morning setting up in the rain to table. And also we had another board member with a pickup truck lining up for the parade. In the back of the pickup truck was a toilet. On top of that toilet was a drag queen. And it was the message that was sent was to highlight the bathroom bill that is going to AOT's desk. There's legislation that has hit AOT's, well, in the next couple of days, will hit AOT's desk. Not only in addition to the bathroom ban, there's several other bills. Those bills and talking points are on 603 Equality's website or on social media channels, so if you're looking for more information on that, you can call Governor Ayotte at 603-271-2121 and ask her to veto them. And the reason I bring up the parade yesterday was the reason I bring up the parade yesterday was I started setting up the tent in the rain and got everything ready. And then I speed walked to the beginning of the parade, which was a mile away. And I got there and joined and marched with 603 Equality alongside our community members, one of which is a very, very special 9-year-old. They are trans, and they are powerful, and they are important. And together, we passed out Hershey Kisses, Snickers bars, and Tootsie Rolls. Common theme here, toilets. The joy of that child passing out candy to other children throughout the streets of Manchester hit me right here. That's the joy that every human being should experience without reservation. That's what truly means living free. To them, to me, and in some ways, hopefully all of you. Thank you.